Good morning to everyone who has joined this session. My name is Hussein Suleman. I'm from the Department of Computer Science at UCT. And I'm going to talk about computer science as a study option. So, see, people are probably still joining the session, but we'll start off with a bit of a gentle introduction before we get to the hardcore details. So, I've titled this an invitation to IT and computer science. I think there's the first question that a lot of people ask is about studying IT, because in the high school system, the subject that we know as computer science is actually called IT for reasons of marketing more than anything else, but we tend to refer to it as computer science. When we think about computer science, we think about the effect that it has on society. And I'd like to start off by looking at a few examples of things that have changed quite substantially in the way that we live because of computer science. The examples that may come to mind quite readily are things like banking, where at this point in time, banks are basically closing all of their branches because they realize that absolutely everything people need to do can be done electronically. And I know that some people are often frustrated about this because we like to see a human being, but from the bank's perspective, a lot of things can be done with better accuracy and more efficiency by being done electronically. The smartphone has changed our lives in a very short period of time. We didn't really realize that this was coming, and at this point in time, everybody has a little computer in their pockets. And it's cheap, you can get these things for about 500 rands if you want an entry-level smartphone. You think about taking a taxi these days, how many people look for a traditional taxi? Most people take out their phone and they contact something like Uber. There's a picture of a fax machine, and I think some people still have these things lying around. Fax machines have gone out of date completely. This has been completely taken over by electronic communications. So we don't have this kind of analog communication any longer. What about other things? Medicine. These days you have these things like CAT scans that can show you the inner workings of a person's body and allow the diagnosis of diseases that wasn't previously possible. There's computer games that as an industry is larger than Hollywood and is having a massive impact on society and how people learn and how they play. There are online stores, things like Take-A-Lot that lots of people may be familiar with, where you can purchase all kinds of things from the comfort of your home. And these days, lots of people are switching to doing that. And especially we know about this because of the pandemic. And during the pandemic, lots of people were doing things from home. My last example is Google. If you want to find information on something, way back when I was a kid, you had to consult Encyclopedia Britannica and hope that you could find the answer. These days, there's no such thing. There's no unanswered questions at the dinner table because somebody pulls out a phone and checks up Google. So computer science as a discipline is the underpinnings of all of these things I've spoken about, and it has changed our society already in ways that we don't think about explicitly, but it turns out that every aspect of our lives is being influenced by technology in this way. What's happening in the future? Well, in the future, we have all kinds of exciting things that we know are coming up very soon. Well, some of them we haven't seen in South Africa, some have already been seen elsewhere in the world. Self-driving cars, robots that can perform surgery remotely, 3D printers that can print houses and not little pieces of plastic that people think about, virtual reality. There's all this buzz going on about the metaverse and all kinds of other things with verse at the end. We don't know where this is going, but it's coming very soon. And artificial intelligence. So the ability for a computer to exhibit what we traditionally think of as being intelligence, but also machine learning, where we can get computers to efficiently do things, tasks that human beings would normally have done. So why, of course, the obvious answer to why study IT and why study computer science is because you can become part of this revolution that's obviously happening in the world. Change the world. If you want a job where you're going to fundamentally change the world, the computing is the thing to think about. But there's a lot of other interesting reasons, and I thought I should enumerate some of these. The first thing is happiness. You want to do a job where you're going to be happy with what you're doing. You want to be excited every day. You want to work. And it turns out that people who work in the computing industry tick these boxes more readily than maybe some other disciplines do. There's a lot of stability and job security because this is really the one discipline that is growing at a phenomenal rate. Um, some people may have thought that computers were going to go away after a while. That's not happening. There's lots of growth opportunities. If anything, we could probably do with another 20,000 or 30,000 graduates in South Africa that we don't have and we will never have. Because by the time we produce the next generation of graduates, we will need even more people. You can make money. The richest people in the world made their money from technology. What's the Jeff Bezos guy? Elon Musk. So unless you're the Queen of England, which you're not going to become, you could become somebody in the technology industry if you want to make a lot of money. You could get famous as well. We know lots of famous technology people. You could study further, you could teach, you could go into research, and you could look at the cutting edge of technology and how to solve problems that have previously not been solved. And the last thing is you could study computer science as a complementary subject. So let's say you decide that you're really excited about mathematics. This was me in high school, really excited about mathematics, but you're not going to get a job in mathematics. And on the other hand, is something that could lead to a job. So you can make that kind of decision. So what about jobs in South Africa? Well, if you look at software development salaries, every now and then somebody writes an article about this. And I don't know how they measure this, but last year they said software development is the most in-demand skill in South Africa. And you could earn a decent salary. You can earn lots of money fairly quickly, but it all depends on individual people as well. So I'm not going to talk about money here. Money is not why we do this. What does an IT graduate do? So you don't just sit in the dark room by a terminal. I think this was classically what people thought of as computer science back in the 1960s. You learn a lot by doing. And this is a practical discipline. There's a variety of different options. There are loads of job options. So it's not just that you become a computer scientist. You become some kind of maybe a software developer, a front-end developer, a specialist in a certain technology or in a certain subdiscipline, etc. There's a lot of helping people involved in this. So there's a lot of people skills here, and there's a lot of entrepreneurship as well. So lots of people actually get degrees and then set up companies because then it's an expanding field, and we are doing things today that we never thought we would have done 5 years ago. So there are companies being developed for technology that is emerging constantly. There's no one single career, and there's actually no one single degree as well. So at UCT, there's a couple of different branches within this discipline that people think of as IT. And the one that I'm really focusing on is computer science, which is about foundations and principles of software and algorithms. We also have information systems, and within the School of IT, you can study information systems, and that's more business focused. So within computer science specifically, we offer the BSc, the Bachelor of Business Science, or BA degree, where you can do a major in computer science. And it's the same computer science, but basically you can do this in different degrees. And this is useful because some people want to maybe study computer science in English. And I think at any given point in time, I have one student who's doing that as a combination. But all possibilities are out there, and it's really a question of making a decision of what else you want to do besides computer science. Information systems has a similar layout of degrees. So what is this thing called computer science? Computer science can be defined in different ways. And we could say it's a study of computer software. We very formally say that it's a study of algorithms, abstractions, and efficiency. So algorithms being the way in which we specify something formally such that a computer can or a machine can do some task. We also like to study the theoretical foundations for computation. So computer science is a discipline based on a strong theory underlying why we do the things the way in which we do them. So what you learn in a computer science degree, you learn principles of computation, how to make machines do complex things, which translates into how to program a computer. You learn a bit about current technology and how you use it, and you learn a lot about problem solving. So there's a bunch of different topics. We go all the way from programming and problem solving when you start off studying computer science in first year, through to slightly more advanced topics in programming in second year. And then we focus on a number of fundamental areas like computer networks and operating systems, software engineering, human-computer interaction. We do that all the way up to the end of third year, when people traditionally end a 3-year degree. And in honors, there are some advanced topics on artificial intelligence, virtual reality, graphics, games, network security, as well as a fairly substantial project at that point. So why do computer science at UCT? I hope I'm selling you on the idea of doing computer science, but the question is, why do it at UCT? Well, our curriculum is internationally recognized and aligned with the best standards in the world. So the ACM, which is the organization that most computer scientists will join if they're joining an international organization. We used to be accredited by the British Computer Society, which meant that we brought these British people down every couple of years to check to see what we were doing and if it was good stuff. And eventually we didn't really see the point, but we can say that we have been tested against the best standards in the world. I can also claim that we are ranked the highest in the country as a computer science department. I'm not sure how we would measure this objectively, but I can always make this claim. There's a lot of innovative teaching going on at UCT. So we are research-led as a department, which means that we will always talk about cutting-edge developments. And we constantly make revisions in the curriculum based on what's happening in industry and what's happening in research. The staff are really keen on teaching and are always doing new things in what they teach. And we have very, very diverse staff interests. So in many of the computer science departments around the country, you will find that there's a focus on a few large areas. And at UCT, we have lots of people who focus on various different areas of computing, which I think is the strength of the department. The staff are incredibly enthusiastic, and we're only outdone by the students if you had to meet them. So what degrees can you do computer science in? Well, the first option is the one that's most common, which is doing a Bachelor of Science degree with a major in computer science. You can also study computer science in these other things, but I think the BSc with a major in computer science is what most people are interested in. And what do you need to get into computer science? Well, you need to meet the point score for admission into whatever degree you want to do. And the most important thing is 70% in mathematics and NSC. So the National Senior Certificate in Mathematics, you need to get 70%. If you're going to do a BSc degree, then you need to get 60% in either physics or IT if you want to get into the BSc. But if you don't have the physics or IT, you can still do business science, BCom, or BA, because all of those options require only the mathematics. They don't require the physics or IT. Everything else we teach. And you don't need to have done IT in matric. And I have to say, one of my closest friends didn't do any IT at all in high school and did computer science at university and is doing great. Is one of the leaders in industry today. Because we always think we can do the stuff much better than your high school teachers anyway, right? So something that people may wonder is, what should you put down on the box if you're applying for computer science? Well, if you want to focus on algorithms and software, you should apply for a BSc in computer science as your first option. And the second option, I would say, to be on the safe side, is applying for a business science degree in computer science. And I think all of the other options on this on this slide are about people who want to focus a bit more on business, just to give you some very explicit recommendations. Okay, so thank you for listening. If you have questions, you can attend the science Q&A session, or you can visit the School of IT website, and you'll find lots of the answers to things you might ask there. I don't know if anybody has asked any questions in the session, but I'm going to stop sharing my slide, and let's see if there are any questions in the Q&A. If there are, I could answer them, but I suspect that the better option may be to attend the Q&A session later. Let me see. Can you still study computer science if you do not have physics or IT? Yes. Well, I'm unsure about whether to apply for computer science to science or commerce. If you want to do software design, you should apply for science. It was an option to choose computer engineering. So you can do some computer engineering courses. The question is there an option to choose computer engineering as a major? You can do some computer engineering courses, but you basically have to do computer science alongside the computer engineering courses. What's the difference between computer science in the Faculty of Commerce and computer science in the Faculty of Science? There is no difference in the computer science. The difference is what other courses you take. Does doing CAT instead of IT also help you get in? CAT doesn't make any difference. Right? So if you have further questions, I think I'm going to stop there. If you have further questions, please go to the Q&A session or check our website for answers. Thank you very much.